Well, hello, Good Samaritan Society. My name is Philip Johnson, and I have the privilege of serving as chaplain at our campuses in Denton, Texas. A big thank you to Senior Pastor Christine Hallenbeck-Ask, or Pastor Christy, for giving me this opportunity to share in the Faith in the Field series. Much like many of you, I'm sure, I interact with residents on a daily basis. One interaction I had recently with a resident really got me thinking. It was during one of our outbreaks. We had had a few residents test positive, and so everyone was wearing full PPE. And so I too, as I entered our healthcare wing, put on my full PPE, a face shield, a mask, and a gown. I stepped into the resident's room and we began to visit. And a few minutes later, the resident said to me, "Thank you for coming to visit me. I really needed it." Now, it really got me thinking because as I reflected on that visit, there was nothing particularly special, nothing particularly extraordinary about the visit. I didn't perform any religious rituals. I didn't burn any incense or offer communion. I'm not even sure that the resident invited me to pray. And so it really got me thinking because of the statement, "Thank you so much for coming to visit with me. I really needed it." Coincidentally, that same week in our Bible studies, we were looking at a passage from 2 Kings. In chapter 5, we are introduced to a man named Naaman. Naaman is a Syrian general, a pretty high-profile individual who has experienced a lot of success in his role. But he suffers from leprosy. Now today, we know that leprosy is treatable and even curable. But during the time of Naaman, that was not their understanding. If you had leprosy, they presumed that it would only get worse and that this would ostracize you from the community. And so, interestingly enough, Naaman's servant, a servant to his wife, is a girl from Israel. And this girl suggests to Naaman's wife that Naaman should go to Israel to see Elisha, the prophet, the holy man of Israel. So Naaman, this high-profile Syrian general, goes to see Elisha. What's interesting is that Elisha doesn't even come out to meet him. He basically just sends him a note. And the note says, "Go wash in the Jordan River 7 times. Naaman is incensed. He is offended for a few reasons. Understandably so. I've had the privilege of visiting that part of the world. And while the Jordan River appears in lots of famous passages of scripture, it's not a particularly notable waterway. There's nothing particularly special or spectacular about it. In fact, most of us would refer to the Jordan River as a creek. It's not very wide, it's not very deep, and it's really dirty. And Naaman even says, "Are not the waters of my homeland better than the Jordan River?" So initially he is offended and incensed and reluctant to go through with this task that Elisha has given him. He's also offended and frustrated that Elisha didn't come out, do some kind of religious ritual, call on the name of his God, and heal Naaman of his leprosy right then and there. But Naaman's entourage, his servants, talk some sense into him, and so he relents. He goes to the Jordan River and he dips himself in the river 7 times. And as he comes out of the water on that 7th time, he's healed miraculously. Now it got me thinking, for many of us, much of what we do on a daily basis perhaps isn't spectacular. It's rather mundane, perhaps rather normal. But I think what I forgot and what the resident reminded me of when they said, "Thank you so much for visiting me, I really needed it," was that the normal, everyday aspects of our job are perhaps the most powerful, the most instrumental, the most effective, and the most impactful. So my encouragement for you is keep doing what you're doing. I know we have been through a lot together, and many of us are still dealing with another wave of this pandemic. Putting on PPE every day and going through with the various tasks that we have to do can sometimes become frustrating and annoying and unpleasant and just continue to wear on us. But be reminded that even the small things, even the things that perhaps seem insignificant, they matter. Have a great day, Good Samaritan Society.